Today I want to talk about life being a perpetual cliffhanging experience. And so I'm talking about the idea of leaving them wanting more rather than being exhausted or giving it all you've got. Or maybe even the idea that you can exhaust potential. So what is this leaving people wanting more? It's part of your mystique. And that mystique is a precipice or a cliffhanging experience that helps you stay tuned, even if there's some kind of season finale. So we're going to talk about the idea of not being exhaustible and always leaving more to be desired. So I hope you'll stick around and stay tuned. One of the often overlooked areas of success is in the curious nature, the insatiable, the always wondering, and in a way that tantalizing characteristic about life keeps us going. For a lot of people, that looks like the carrot dangling in front of the horse on its bridle. And the idea that you can never fully get there. But it's part of the setup of being a human. The perpetual horizon, if you will. And for a lot of people, that's extremely frustrating because they can't ever get it. And I'm not so sure that's the point of life. Perhaps we might think of the point of life as remaining in that mystique, but remaining comfortable on the precipice of danger. It would seem unconscionable to have a dinner party where your guests leave hungry. We want everyone to be satisfied and full, maybe to the point of being sick of it. But part of success is leaving people hanging just a little bit and wondering, who was that masked man? What more could we have seen from him or her? Or, I can't wait to come back and do it again. And that seems to be, to me, the whole premise of reincarnation. As a chance to get more out of it. And life always seems to be offering and tickling us and tantalizing us with, I wonder, right? As a music professor, one of the things I always try to be mindful of is that you end the concert before the audience is ready to go. You provide them with the notion of, I'm so looking forward to next year's concerts. And so that is the premise of, building an audience, is the mystique of, is that it? And I believe that's where life leaves us hanging, wanting to know who shot JR. If you're as old as I am, you know where that comes from. Or what creates this idea of people wanting to binge watch. Like when I watched Ted Lasso, I just binge watched that whole thing. Everything baited me. I waited with bated breath for the next episode. The episode itself was satisfying, but also wondering what will happen next. You see, this is the cliffhanging experience of the person who embodies a lot of mystique. They don't sicken you with too much. They don't deprive you either. There's this wonderful sense where you can be fed but left a little bit hungry. That's the ingredients of great sex too. Just not giving, not putting out. Also, not being too eager, desperate, but just enough to tease. Just you might consider it in the world of allure and attraction, like just a little bit of shoulder. But you see, if you contemplate very deeply our innate curiosity as humans, you can overstuff yourself. You can saturate yourself. And that's what happens in a relationship. People become sick of each other because they are too they've erased the mystique. They've stepped over the boundary of desire. They've stuffed themselves to the gills. So there's a lot of gluttony in our culture. And you have to know how to offer the appeal without taking away the wonderment. And it seems weird that wonderment and satisfaction can coexist, but it can. You can satisfy yourself just enough and still have a little room. So contentment is remaining curious but not overstuffed. And how does one get good at this? Part of it is waiting to say the right things and living in and being comfortable in what's called arsis. See, there's a I'm going to over dramatize what I'm talking about. And it's like a kid, you know? And then we right? That's the arsis to any kind of action, to it's a preeminence. And then there's the thesis, the downward stroke. And mystique is what is that? Right? Like it's a sense of what's about to happen, and I call it cliffhanging attentiveness. And so you live comfortably in this question. Is that it? And then there's some more, right? So living in that sense of, is that it? Is that all you have to say? That makes people uncomfortable. But that's really what the present moment is. It's a wondering, what next? And that's always with us. So either the future or the precipice or the cliffhanging arsis, an anticipation of When does the present moment become the future? Well, we never can quite get there because the next present moment is filled with anticipation, filled with potential. See, a lot of people are uncomfortable with that and they try to exhaust it, shoot their wad, end on a high note, go out with a bang, have a blowout. But this is about quitting while you're ahead. This is about leaving them with a little bit more question. Drawing people in. Listening to what the moment wants you to do. And in that anticipatory delight comes encoded information. And it gives you that information in what you would call real time. And that's what is important about staying tuned. So the TV industry is filled with this kind of stuff where they build you up and there's a commercial, right? Stay tuned to see, is that it? And even if the series ends or the movie ends, some of the best movies end with, ooh, I hope there's a sequel. So you've got something if you can keep the carrot out there. Keep the potential. Don't live with this sense that you've got to give it everything you got. You've got to push and grind and work. That's dealing in the extremities, and that's an immediate turnoff. It's the thing that ruins relationships. It's the ingredients of novelty. It's the ingredients of surprise and wonderment. Cliffhanging. Is incorporated in a fulfilling life. In other words, not knowing has a teasing quality to it, but not a scary one. I wish I could tell you how to apply these concepts to your life, but this is something you have to pay attention to in your meditation and in your silence, is not to be afraid of what next, but to welcome that position of mystique and to welcome that openness into your life. Not having to fill it up with noise and a grand finale and a culminating main. There's no main event in a life that's, is that it? In a life that stays tuned, the frequency is a cliffhanging one, without fear. That's wonderment. That's awe. That's living comfortably with potential. Not stripping it out. Not stuffing. There are seeming extremities in life. And this Arsis philosophy keeps that space of openness at all times. So, if you're going to have a dinner party, leave your guest wanting to come back again and again. If you plan a vacation, plan it so that you don't do everything. And you'll have a chance to go back and see some more. When you enter into a relationship, don't just jump in feet first. Keep some mystique about it. This is an honest thing. You can't force it either. You can't play hard to get on purpose, if you know what I mean. But being in that desirous state is staying attuned to the cliffhanging suspense of the present moment, which offers this neat sense of satisfaction because it feels like you're just on the precipice. You're balancing on this very tight rope. But you have to understand that anticipation is what allows you to participate in life. And you're perfectly safe being in that position of, is that it? And even when you die, you'll probably still be in that state of wonderment. Maybe even more so. And the more you investigate that state of cliffhanging, it gets even more mysterious, but not scary. It is not scary to think that there may not be an answer to the question, is that it? Maybe that's the answer, is being in that question. Because the potential is always there. And either that scares the bejesus out of you, or it tantalizes you and makes you realize how much of a wink and a nod this suspended life is. I'm suspended in the midst of potential, but I'm not paralyzed in suspense. The suspense doesn't kill me. You know, if you say, well, if you got to wait for the next season, I'm not dying to know what the ultimate is or the final curtain call, because I know there is none. Eternity is the final curtain call. And that may seem like a really long time. But that's good, because that gives me a chance to really pay attention to the mystique of who I am. That which leaves more to be desired in a playful way. So, I hope that these insights made you want to probe the truth that potential cannot be overstepped, underestimated, or anything like that. It's always there. And to recognize it is to wonder, is that it? And to keep yourself in that wonderful state of suspense. To stay tuned without letting the suspense kill you. My name is Ryan. I hope that you enjoyed these insights and that you will check out my blog, mymorningmotivator.com, or one of my books on Amazon. And I hope that you'll stay tuned to my channel. Thanks for watching.